Case 1. The Skinwalker. The Navajo call it Yinald Lushi. By means of it, he goes on all fours. Most people just call it the Skinwalker, and even that name is said carefully, like it might be listening. Here's what separates a Skinwalker from every other monster on this list. It used to be human. Not cursed, not born wrong, it chose this. Navajo tradition holds that a person becomes a skinwalker by committing the ultimate betrayal, killing someone in their own bloodline, a sibling, a parent. That act is what rips away their humanity and hands them the ability to shed their skin and wear something else. They favor coyotes, wolves, foxes, owls, crows, animals already tied to death, and trickery in Navajo belief. But a skinwalker in animal form is never quite right. The gait is wrong. The eyes catch light they shouldn't. Some witnesses describe a smell underneath the fur, something like meat left too long in the sun. And that's the surface level horror. The real horror is what it keeps from being human, the mind. A skinwalker doesn't hunt like an animal. It stalks like a person who knows exactly what will break you. Multiple accounts describe them mimicking voices, a missing child crying in the dark, a spouse calling your name from just past the porch light, pulling victims out of their homes and into the open. There are reports of them standing outside windows on two legs, watching, or families hearing something circle the house for hours, testing the doors, tapping the glass with something that sounds almost like knuckles. Reservation police in parts of Arizona and Utah have logged calls describing creatures that move faster than anything on four legs, should sprinting alongside moving trucks, keeping pace with headlights, then vanishing the second a flashlight lands on them. Some traditional protections exist against it: certain prayers, certain substances, certain ways of refusing to acknowledge its presence at all. But almost every account agrees on one rule above the rest: never make eye contact. Elders say the eyes are the one place a skinwalker can't fully disguise what it's become, and staring into them is said to let it into your mind. The reason nobody says its name isn't superstition for the sake of it. Belief holds that acknowledgement is an invitation, that speaking the word draws its attention across whatever distance separates you from it. So if you ever find yourself somewhere remote in the southwest and something starts calling your name from the tree line in a voice that sounds almost right, don't answer. And whatever you do, don't look it in the eyes. Case 2, the Wendigo. Head north into the frozen forests of the Algonquian peoples and the fear changes shape. This isn't about betrayal anymore, it's about hunger, the kind that never ever stops. The Wendigo is what happens when starvation breaks a person completely. Algonquian tradition describes two paths to becoming one: resorting to cannibalism to survive a brutal winter, or being possessed outright by the Wendigo spirit that waits in the deep woods for someone weak enough to let it in. Either way, the result is the same: a creature with an appetite that literally cannot be filled. Picture something built entirely wrong: skin stretched so tight over bone it looks torn in places, a grey, corpse-like pallor, lips shredded and bloody from gnawing on itself just to dull the hunger for a moment. Its eyes sit sunken and glowing in a face with almost nothing left on it, and despite looking like it should be too weak to stand. A Wendigo can run down a grown man across miles of snow without slowing. The worst part isn't the strength, it's the sound. Survivors and hunters across multiple Algonquian oral traditions describe a Wendigo's presence being announced first: a smell of decay carried on the wind, then a whisper of your own name from somewhere in the trees, low and wrong, like something practicing how to say it. This legend wasn't invented to scare children at bedtime, it was a survival law with teeth. In brutal winters where starvation was a real constant threat, the taboo against cannibalism had to be absolute, because once a community starts eating its own, it doesn't stop at one meal. The Wendigo made the consequence unforgettable: eat human flesh, and you don't just become a monster. You become an endless, insatiable one, doomed to keep hunting long after your humanity is gone. Some modern accounts near the Canadian boundary waters still describe hearing something enormous moving through the trees in the dead of winter, never seen fully, always just out of the light, and always hungry. Trappers in the early 1900s reported entire camps abandoned overnight, supplies untouched. Only drag marks leading off into the tree line and no explanation anyone was willing to give. Case 3, the Deer Woman. Not every legend on this list wants to eat you. Some want to teach you a lesson, and the lesson usually costs everything. Across Choctaw, Cherokee, and Muskogee tradition, the Deer Woman appears at gatherings, dances, anywhere young men let their guard down. She's described as devastatingly beautiful flowing hair, a voice that seems to know exactly what you want to hear. Men are drawn to her without understanding why, following her further and further from the fire, from the crowd, from safety. There's always one detail that gives her away, and it's always too late by the time anyone notices. Beneath the hem of her dress, she doesn't have human feet. She has the hooves of a deer. Some men catch it in time and run. Most don't notice until they're already deep in the trees, alone, and she's no longer smiling. What happens next depends on who's telling the story. In some accounts, the men who follow her simply vanish found days later, disoriented and unable to explain where they'd been, if they're found at all. In others, it's darker, bodies discovered off the trail, trampled by something with far more force than a woman should have. But the Deer Woman isn't just a warning to wandering men. In several traditions, she's a protector, a form of justice for women and children harmed by men who broke their promises, who cheated, who hurt the people who trusted them. Her hooves aren't a flaw in a disguise. They're a reminder that nature underneath beauty is still wild, still untamed, and still capable of striking back. Some tellings add a final chilling detail. Even after she's gone, the sound of hoofbeats can still be heard circling the gathering for the rest of the night, slow and deliberate, as though she's making sure the lesson was learned. Case 4, the Thunderbird. Last case, and this one's different because for once, the thing in the sky isn't hunting you. It's the reason something worse isn't. From the Pacific Northwest to the Great Plains, tribes describe the Thunderbird as almost impossibly massive a bird whose wingspan can blot out the sun completely, whose wing beats sound exactly like what you'd expect. Rolling, earth-shaking thunder. When it blinks, lightning splits the sky. In several traditions, the Thunderbird carries an entire lake on its back, releasing it as rain when the land needs it most. But its real role goes far beyond weather. The Thunderbird is a guardian, a force specifically positioned against something ancient and dangerous that lives beneath the water, the great horned serpent. Oral traditions describe battles between the two so violent they reshaped the land mountains split, rivers rerouted, entire storms born out of a single clash in the sky. When thunder rolls for hours without stopping, some traditions hold that it isn't just weather. It's a war happening somewhere just out of sight, and the reason you're not dealing with what's under the water is that something bigger is still up there, holding the line. People still report it. Unusually massive birds spotted during storms in the Pacific Northwest, wing beats felt more than heard, sightings that never quite make it into a clear photograph. Whether you take it as literal or symbolic, the pattern holds across too many cultures to dismiss outright something enormous watches the sky, and as long as it's still up there, the rest of us stay standing. 4 legends, 4 warnings, all of them still whispered for a reason because the people who first told them believed every word. If you ever find yourself alone in the desert, the deep snow, or the tree line at dusk, remember the rule. Don't answer the voice that knows your name.